Andre-SMTN.
How's it going, everybody, and welcome to Shin Megami Tensei Network Link 151. I am your host, Spencer Presley, and joining me on this very special podcast, because they're all special in their own little ways, is one of the admins on the SMTN Facebook group, Andre.
Hi.
So, Andre, I cannot believe how long you have been a member of this community and not somehow guilted me or threatened my life for not including you on the podcast. How long have you been part of the SMTN community, would you say?
Without looking it up, actually, I would say since 2014 probably, so about 6 years.
Were you a Fight Club edition, or did you join just naturally finding us?
Damn, I really can't remember. I think I naturally found it. I think I was just looking for S&T stuff because that was 2014, so that was right after I graduated. So I had already played. I had beaten Golden, and I think I was just looking for another group to just talk about S&T and shit. So I think I found this, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool." And then from there, it shot off.
Yeah, man, you were one of the OG names I remember always popping up. A couple of the other OG names that I definitely would have to lose a chunk of my brain to forget. Nick, I feel like Nick was the Asian Ben Snow. Do you remember Nick Young?
Nick Young.
The Asian guy who we met through Fight Club was way too good to be playing with us, but would still come and talk crap with us while I played Ultimax.
I'd have to see a picture of him.
Just think, very stereotypical, lives in Canada Asian guy, way too buff for how short he is, though.
Damn, I don't remember.
Okay, I forget what his PSN name was. I have a weird feeling if I said his PSN name, I bet you'd remember.
I can find it because we have all the PSN names on the network.
Oh yeah, that is true. But yeah, so there's a couple of names and stuff that always pop up with it, but yeah.
Silver Tiger?
I think that is him. See, I'm now saying I now give myself too much credit with people's PSN names. But either way, before we get too much into mystery throwback, so you found the group, then God, you remember how long because I know you were the first. I know you were the first admin I added, or at least was all right, I'm cool adding you. But for years, remember how often people would be like, "We need more admins. We need more," and I was like, "Guys, we don't actually need admins." Because for the longest time, people were begging me to add admins to the group because they were making it sound like it was some lawless country. I think this was pre the JP release, maybe 2015 or 2016 when I finally caved.
It was around the time that Tokyo Mirage Sessions came out, because that's when everybody just started fucking losing their minds.
Yes.
And we had our Civil War. And it was just okay.
Well, I don't know. You know what? We've joked about it as a Civil War. At least in Civil War, Iron Man and Captain America's side were still cool at the end of the day. This is a actual American Civil War where one side was in the right and the other side was a bunch of fucking ignorant people who were dumb.
Yeah, hold on, because we still have the network wiki where we recorded everything that had happened.
One day I want someone to be passionate enough to update that again, and they'll just find this large amount of space in between 2016 to 2019 and be like, well, people were there, but I guess just nothing really happened. But no, so going back to it though, I remember you were one of the first admins I'd picked right away just because you were always like super active and always really helpful with stuff and always kind of participated with everybody. Um, but no, kind of going back to that. Besides the group, what is your history with Persona or SMT, whatever one came first?
Well, the first time I remember like getting anything from the Megaton series was I saw two things. I saw a video of Dante fighting Lucifer with Demifiend, and I was like, is that a fucking mod? Like I didn't like it was weird. It was when YouTube was like still like beginning, like it was shitty. I remember just seeing a video of that, and I was just like, what the fuck is this? And then I remember seeing another video saying like this is why Persona 3 is M-rated, and it was just a fusion video of Mara. And then I want to say years later, I saw Devil Survivor on the 3DS, and then uh, I played Nocturne, didn't finish it,
You have
and
the
then
weirdest timeline of games you started with.
yeah, like it's weird. But Nocturne, I believe it was the first one that actually
At that point, did you play it on natural hardware, or would the PS3 classics have been out?
PS2, because the
Okay.
PS3 classic didn't come out until my birthday in like 2015. It
No,
was
that
late,
that would have been like 14, 15.
14,
No,
15.
actually, I I bet those Atlas PS2 on PS3 classics were probably before PS3. I mean PS4. I can't imagine that those got added
Yeah, it was
after
before
PS4.
PS4.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that'd probably been like, let's say like 2012, 2013 early. Oh man, back in the good old days when like our best gaming option was the PS3 and we're like, look at all these awesome classics. Of course they'll come to the next gen. Stranded. I would like I would literally sell off anyone else's left nut that wasn't mine to get PS2 classics as good as we did on PS3 and PS4. And it really sucks that the only reason it stopped is because Sony literally had to make all of them. Like they had a wrapper for PS2 games, but they wouldn't just like let companies pay to get them like all made. Because if you like look, PS2 classics came out even after the PS4 classics were a thing. You know,
Hmm.
like there was, I think Konami was even like releasing Suikoden games, like Suikoden 3 and 4, I think released on the PS3, like
Yeah.
in 2015 and 16, and never came over to PS4 classics of PS2 games. God, this is so confusing. But like it's so funny because they started out with the big stuff on PS4. Like they got GTA, which was a really big deal when PS3 had the PS2 classics. But then we all just kind of assumed that they would get the niche stuff like they did with PS3, and it just never came. Like how no one at Sony thought, hey, let's add these really expensive Atlas games and just add trophies. Like, they didn't even need to add, like, the Raito games. Like, it would have been great if they added Raito, but, like, the fact that someone just said, hey, do you think Persona 3 would make a lot of money on PS4? Nah. Let's do Jack and Daxter 1 through X and then give up. Okay. I'm sorry. I went on a sad tangent because I enjoyed PlayStation 2 classics on modern hardware too much.
Yeah, about like three games about Rogue Galaxy and Dark Cloud
I
and Jack and Daxter.
Weird fact, I never bought a single PS2 classic on my PS3. I
Oh wow.
actually I've only ever bought one digitally on PS4. The only one that made me like pee my pants and like I had to buy it right away, Ape Escape 2.
Oh.
I bought Ape Escape 2 and I was so confused when I bought it because I know a lot of people might not know out there, Ape Escape has really confusing licensing rights and stuff in terms of like who was publishing it and where, even though it was a first party Sony game always.
Hmm.
In America, Ape Escape 2 was published by Ubisoft and had a dub made by 4Kids.
Oh god.
But they don't have the rights to that dub or licensing anymore. So they put out on PS4 worldwide Ape Escape 2 is the European version, which instead is basically like a translation of the Japanese version, but with British voice actors. So, like, I don't actually remember what the main voice actor of. I mean, not the main voice actor. The main protagonist in Ape Escape 2 probably has a name that's like. Because I know in the first game it's Spike, and then I think the other one. In 2 it might be Jimmy. But, like. in the European one, it's the same as the Japanese one, and it's like Harada sound. But like, so it's like honestly, what it is, it does one of my favorite things with like European dubs that we don't get enough in games. It's like the first time I heard Xenoblade Chronicles voice acting, I was like, oh dude,
Yeah.
I love this. We need more of this. You know what's sad? The only reason we like different accents and dubs is because the Western market for voice acting, like love or hate the actors, they just rinse and repeat way too many like voice actors.
And we had to go through that whole like 2009 to 2013 of just Yori Lowenthal, Matt Mercer, and like just the same people. It wasn't until Persona 5 when it like, it switched it up. Now we don't hear those guys anymore.
Literally, the only reason that is because all the main people in Persona 5 weren't part of the voice actors union.
Yeah.
I'm glad that mix-up happened and stuff for it, but like it kind of sucks now because from the time of Persona 5 release, like, oh hey, getting someone like Sean Chiplock was like, oh cool, he's a new guy, and now Sean Chiplock's kind of like how Matt Mercer was, probably not as popular as Matt Mercer was, but like even now like Sean Chiplock is like, oh I see Sean Chiplock in like every game that's dubbed that I probably know.
Yeah, he's like, I mean, he's Ryan Schwartz. He's really popular now.
Yeah. Dubs aside, that's a little bit of your history. What are you doing at the moment? Like, what's your online life now in terms of? Because I know you're a man, you get around, you do your stuff. What are your projects that you either want to talk about, or if you don't, what are you playing right now?
What am I playing right now?
Yeah.
What was I playing? I'm playing Monster Hunter. Like that's a game that I like focus on.
Hold on,
playing.
You got to be specific with this. There's a couple of games in that series.
Oh, I'm playing Monster Hunter World.
Are you on Iceborne?
Yeah.
Okay. See, that's why I was like, when you said Monster Hunter, I was like OG PS2
no.
Monster Hunter. I was like,
See,
did you lose a bet?
I fucking hated Monster Hunter when I was growing up. Like my friends always tried to get me to play it. And I was like, fuck this game. It sucks. It's too slow. But then World came out, and I was like, all right. I played that a bit. I was like, this is really bad. And then I found the one weapon that I liked, and it got better after that. And, like the game's really fun.
So World was the one able to convert you, huh?
Yeah, it had a lot of changes to it too. Like playing the old ones, it was just like it was so clunky and slow, and it's like it was too complicated for me to want to just put time into it. That's why I kind of gravitated more towards like what was it called, Freedom Wars and Soul Sacrifice. Like those type of games were the best for me when it came to like monster hunting and shit. But Monster Hunter was just too slow.
I'm a big nerd, and instead of playing Monster Hunter, I play Toukiden unironically.
Oh yeah, that was good too.
What do you mean was good? Toukiden 2 is still good.
I mean, it was in the sense that they're not making anymore, and it's so sad.
I think honestly the only reason Toukiden was a thing is because Koei Tecmo was smart, and they were like, hey, we could make a Monster Hunter game that's on Vita because Monster Hunter had moved over to 3DS.
Yeah.
And that's why the first game was really big. Kiwami came out. And then 2, I think 2 was that weird case of, as a Vita game, it's really ambitious, and as a sequel, it's pretty cool. But at that point by the time Toukiden 2 came out, I think there was a lot less interest. Did you ever play Toukiden 2?
I never played the second one.
So Toukiden 2 actually is super ambitious in the sense of it ditched the load area model and go into big open world maps before Monster Hunter World did, even on the Vita version. But what was crazy about that is I remember when Toukiden 2 released, we got a physical even in America, and I think this might have been like I almost want to say like 2017. I remember it was a big deal that Koei Tecmo released that game physically in America. Because, like, they had not released anything physically in America for, like, 3 years on the Vita. Their last thing they did, I think, was, like, either Dynasty Warriors 8 or Deception 4. So, I just remember that was, like, a big deal for whatever reason. But, no, I'm one of, like, the 5 people in America who still remember Toukiden fondly.
I just remember, like, Toukiden and Freedom Wars and Soul Sacrifice.
Oh,
it was, like,
man.
good at the time because they always had, like, crossover DLC and shit. It was like,
oh, yeah.
oh, you play this, you get that, and it's like, oh, this is so cool. And then
Dude, this is how you know we don't have fun Sony anymore. There is
Yeah.
no reason we should not have had a Freedom Wars sequel on PS4.
I still dream of that, man. Like
Oh,
that game ended on
man.
the biggest fucking cliffhanger. I'm just like, are you fucking serious? Like, you're not gonna give us any more? And it's such a cool concept. Like the concept of like taking out down your time. I remember when I got down to 0, the people that were playing with me were like, "Oh my god, you did it!" Like, yeah, and I'm like, "Fuck yeah, man, I'm free!" Like it was the coolest shit ever, and
Dude, I
they
feel like
just throw it
such a
away.
fake Freedom Wars fan. If I get this wrong, the place, the prison in Freedom Wars is called the Panopticon?
The
Panopticon?
Panopticon.
Panopticon. Okay, I'm a half fake fan. Holy shit, though, man. Freedom Wars. What a game. Let me say this right now. If anyone is listening to this who has a Vita and is interested in hunting-like games, Freedom Wars is still very playable. That
Yeah,
community...
there's still people on there
Yeah,
too.
like, there's a few... Like, people always are like, oh, like, there's not a lot of online games that are very active with Vita, which is true. The two games that are always, like, proving that wrong, at least that I always see, like, on Reddit and stuff online, or especially Twitter, is Freedom Wars and Killzone Mercenaries. Killzone Mercenaries always has people playing. Oh,
Sacrifice as
man.
well. Soul Sacrifice Delta. Like there's
I think Soul Sacrifice, I don't know what that one's online is, but the weird thing is Soul Sacrifice I always soloed stuff. I think it's because I never had enough friends playing it.
hmm. It was always fun to play with more people.
Mm-hmm.
Like just the
Oh,
crazy shit you could do.
and also the thing with Soul Sacrifice is I got Delta super late because I didn't want to download Delta, and I didn't get it until I think 2017 when I finally got the Asian English version. So that would have
Hmm.
been well after when a lot of people were done playing it. Man, those copies go for a lot of money now. Probably not as much as some people thought they would, but some of those Asian English Vita games go for like crazy amounts. Like, you know what the most expensive Asian English game is? I would not have guessed this. This is insane. It's an anime licensed game. You'll probably guess it. You know.
License game.
Yeah, it even came out digitally in America. I'll give you a hint. AW.
AW.
Yeah.
AW. Is that like the first word is A and the second word is W?
Yep,
Like
and in America, I think it actually is just called AW. They didn't have the rights to saying it. Asterix War, Phoenix Fiesta.
what the fuck?
Yeah, do you remember that? Do you remember the anime Asterix Wars?
Hell no.
Oh, okay.
What?
Yes, so if you look it up right now, Asterix Wars, like an English copy on Vita, is I think it at least goes over 3 digits now. But that was the first game I ever discovered Asian English games were a thing, because I saw that game got announced at Anime Expo that year. I think it was 2016 or 17. I saw that got announced at Anime Expo, and I looked everywhere online, and I saw someone had a physical copy with no ESRB rating, but they said it was in English. And I was like,
Hmm.
whoa, dude, I gotta get this game. And I found this company in Malaysia who were selling copies, and I was like, I gotta go through their Gmail, and it looks super sketchy, but they delivered big time, and then I started importing like every English Asian game I wanted.
Holy fuck, it's sold out.
Yeah, like, yeah, because I know that's like a big one that like that, and I think MLB The Show 15 and both the Digimon games always sell out a lot because those have a lot of nostalgia for people.
Wow, did this do good? Because this
Oh
looks.
yeah, I love it. It's like it plays like a Senran Kagura type game. I don't know
Ah,
if it's by Marvelous, but it's definitely of that type of like beat 'em up open arena like stuff. But yeah, it was fun. It was ran really great. It was like a weird Bandai Namco Vita exclusive. It especially was weird because they announced it. Like, it was a worldwide, at least I think it was worldwide announced. No, it came out earlier in Japan. But it was like an announced, like, for English everywhere as, like, at AX. Like, that's a big deal. And I remember at the time I was like, what the fuck is this anime? I've never heard of Asterix War. Yeah, that was a really weird thing to kick off my import obsession, but I'm really glad it did. Not because I have that game, but more for the fact that, like, I own some really, really weird stuff that I would never have known about. And if I found out about it now, I would hate myself because there are some games that go for stupid amount of money for it.
hmm.
I probably, like, there's a couple of things that I would really hate myself for, because, like, I assume, because you brought up a couple times with me, how big into Soul Sacrifice were you?
Really big.
Okay, did you know And hi everyone, welcome to the Vita Life podcast. We made a new episode. Um, did you know that there is a physical PlayStation Vita card in Japan for the first Soul Sacrifice game and Delta, separate boxed versions of this, that is just the demo. They made a physical game card version of the demo.
I remember there was one for Delta because it was supposed to be like a prologue to the actual game, and it
I
had
don't
like extra shit with it.
I don't actually know, but I just know that whatever PSN demo is, it might even still be up, but at least when those games got announced at the time, they had demos. I distinctly remember playing. The demos are just on the cart, and it was like a weird pre-order bonus because it was never sold. It was, hey, if you bought a Vita like a month before Soul Sacrifice or Delta came out, the stores would hand out physical game versions of the demo.
Yeah, because now I remember it had the demo, but it also had the anime like episodes that they had on there, the like little short anime movies
Yeah,
for Soul Sacrifice.
those are really expensive, not because that they like are rare, just because if you know about it, you know that they're not easy to get a hold of.
Yeah,
And so people just like charge up the butt for it. Like those are the ones that like, I really want to get one of these days, but I also don't want to pay anything like over 40 for. I would feel so stupid paying that, but it's just such a weird like collector's item thing. Oh my gosh. Well, that was our Vita tangent. I think we have to get into news at this point. I'm amazed at how off topic we've gotten this fast, Andre. Do you have any suggestions for news you want to get into first, or do you care which one I start with?
I say let's just get the Game Awards out the way.
All right, I'm just gonna say this right now because we went so long talking about garbage. I'm gonna let you give me your as long as you want to say opinion on the Game Award, and then end it with one thing you hated or think should have been improved, and one thing you loved.
All right, so uh, my overall, okay. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. Like, it was just okay. It was just another award show. Um, but I'd say the one thing that I fucking hated was Vinny D. Fuck Vinny D. I don't care about Vin Diesel coming out there. I mean, he's a cool guy. I love.
I'm literally hiding my answer. I was gonna say my favorite part: Vin Diesel coming out. Oh yeah, man, that was okay.
I love Vin Diesel, but it's like it was just that's how you end the Game Awards. Like, come on, man. Like, it was a weird thing to see that, and it's just like whatever the fuck the other girl's name was, I totally forgot.
Michelle
She just comes out.
Rodriguez. What do you mean?
Yeah,
You forgot?
whatever. She was gone for like 2 movies, man. I don't remember.
Listen, I distinctly remember her being in Resident Evil.
Oh my god, I forgot.
Yeah. I'm actually Michelle Rodriguez's agent. That's why I have to contractually remind people.
But like, I'd say the one thing. There's a lot of things they can change, but like, I wish it was more about the games. Like, have 3 performances by like bands that don't even like. We got Green Day, Grimes, and who was the third person? It was like
no, dude, I'm not gonna let you say Churches was a bad performance.
Okay, no,
I
no,
love that.
No, they weren't bad, but it was like, give us more performances from music from video games. I know Churches and Grimes are in Death Stranding.
No, Grimes is going to be featured in Cyberpunk. I thought Grimes was like either very poorly displayed or just like poorly I mentioned like in the text chat for it. I don't know who Grimes is. From my outset, either looks like the audio mixes off or she straight up doesn't sing. She was just doing interpretive dance. And then at one point they just kind of gave up and showed an AMV for Cyberpunk's like visualizer. So it was like, I get what they were trying for, but yeah, Green Day there was no reason for it. Green Day was like, why are they there? Why are they trying so hard? Listen, if you like Green Day, great, but like Green Day did not need to do 2 songs at the Game Awards, and then their biggest game-related tie-in was they're in Beat Saber. Like, hey, guess what? The fucking Crab Rave song is in Beat Saber. I would rather have that happen than Green Day at the Game Awards.
Yeah, I just think they should do more like pay like make it about games. Let's get more speeches from the people about how the development of the games, and let's get more music from video games. They could have had Yasunori Mitsuda, who did fucking Xenoblade, up there with his orchestra and
I'll
shit.
say
Like
this.
they
I'll say
could,
this. On any time they bust out the orchestra, they do good stuff with it.
yeah, but it's
They
always
they
so short.
they brought out the hilariously dumb Resident Evil 2 remake end credit song, which I then started busting out laughing because it's like that song is literally in there because it's a joke. That song is in there because the team at Capcom was like, "Hey, this game takes place in the 90s. Let's make a really cringy 90s metal song." Which like I love it, but like at the same time is like more stuff like that would be great, but like I wonder if it's like will people be into it? But I mean, like if you looked at the crowd of the Game Awards, but like there's the people who are clearly the either the hey be hyped people or the just we just took a Xanax before going to the Game Awards, and then there's 90% of everyone else who's sitting in the back who could not care less about Green Day. Like Green Day
Yeah.
even straight up midway through their performance went, "Come on guys, video games are about freedom. Freedom is love. Come on, get up." And then four people came a little bit closer, and everyone else is like, "Please continue this and I would like to get my
We
drink,
don't
please."
care.
Yeah, like, but like, think about like, and then this will kind of go into my opinion of it. I think there was more ads than there should have been, at least compared to last year,
Yeah.
unless I'm remembering wrong. Magic the Gathering. I don't know how many different things you showed me. I just know you showed me too many things. I saw too many things for Magic the Gathering, and I don't even know what they are. There are too many card games that don't show that they are a card game. It is actually daunting
Oh
at this
yeah,
point.
they showed that whole fucking ad. I was like, oh, what is this? It's like, oh, it's a card game. Like,
Like,
what?
there was one Magic the Gathering commercial that wasn't even for a game. It was for 3 cards being playable. I was like, they made a CG trailer that probably cost them like millions of dollars for 3 cards. And I'm like, I'm sure Magic has tons of FU money, but I was so like, I was so taken aback by it of like, what is happening? But yeah, I think in terms of announcements, especially if you're someone who listens to this podcast and are primarily into niche stuff, your biggest hard on of the show was probably No More Heroes 3
And that
or
little snippet of Tokyo Mirage Session.
can I just give a shout out to that commercial? Why is the only commercial with like the Nintendo Switch like we've got games? Why does it have to show the CG shot of like smoke boobs?
I know,
Can
like
you
who
show
thought?
any like guys? That game is gorgeous. You got to show the one stupid CG cutscene. That, by the way, the cutscene is censored. The game version isn't. In
Hmm.
all regions, her boobs have no smoke. But oh my god, yes, that was a like hilarious thing of like I think Nintendo knows and they're just like taking the piss.
Yeah,
But
they're
yeah, I
just
think
fucking with
I
everybody now.
think when they know what they're doing and they're working with like their guests and the awards part of it really well, I think it wins. Like I think stuff like churches, I think like we said the orchestra, and I was amazed. Like the days before when they announced that the Muppets were going to be there. Listen, I'm a grown man. I'm 26 years old. I have a head cold. I like the Muppets. This is not like an irony thing. I actually like and I love the Muppets. I think the Muppets are very fun. The Muppets can be done right, but the Muppets can also be done dumb and stupid. When I found out the Muppets were going to be there on the Game Awards, I was like, okay, this is probably going to be really dumb and bad. Not like funny dumb. I think the Muppets was probably legitimately my favorite part of the Game
Yeah,
Awards. Which,
definitely. They were
which
the best part.
if you said though, because like, honestly, I'm not even an Untitled Goose Game fan. If you said the Muppets are going to make a 3-minute long sketch about Untitled Goose Game and it's going to just that's the joke. It's Untitled Goose Game with the Muppets. I'd say, well, that's kind of worn out because honestly, the Goose Game memes have kind of even died at this point. I think it's fair
Yeah.
to say. But the way that they did it, it was so funny and it didn't overstay its welcome. And I think a lot of people also don't even get this. Like the really bad joke it starts out with of like, oh, where's Beaker? Oh, I guess he's in the lobby. It's like that's Muppets even. Like Muppets even know how to make bad jokes funny because it's like he's trying to be funny, which makes it not funny. But then once they try to be like themselves, then the real jokes start. So that's like my positive. I'd say probably the worst part about it. Um, this
The
is
Stadia.
all right. I'll say this actually. I'm glad Google Stadia paid for commercials, if only for that, because I get those ads for Google Stadia all the time on my YouTube.
Mm.
Because I've seen them before. I'm just glad they included those, so now more people can experience how bad of a job Google has done at advertising their console. They're advertising their console like they've got the biggest swinging dick around when they barely have over 20 games and everyone hates them.
Yeah.
But yeah, my biggest downer is honestly probably just like a super minor thing, and it's probably just Green Day. Green Day just felt like such a wet fart for 2 minutes. And it has nothing to do with the band. It's just like they super didn't fit.
I would have taken My Chemical Romance over them. If they had to choose someone else,
Why
I'd
does
rather have that.
Oh my god. Please no. Like, listen. You brought back the Sony 2008 flute guy that everyone made fun of. Not me, but everyone made fun of the Ghost of Tsushima flute guy at 2018. And Green Day was more cringy to me. Like, let that sink in, guys. But honestly, I thought the show was fine. Not terrible. I'm glad I watched it. But yeah, that was my best part. I don't think, honestly, any of the reveals kind of even did it for me. Even No More Heroes 3, like, that trailer is, like, such a joke of, like, it... Like, Andre, have you seen the extended version of the trailer?
Yeah, that shit was crazy. I thought it was like a new level 5 game. I was like, is this Ni no Kuni 3 or something?
That extended trailer, folks, in case you haven't seen it, adds no new gameplay. It's just more anime.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, if you think that game is coming out next year and your name is Suda51 and you somehow listen to this podcast, congratulations. You've just trolled the entire internet into believing that. That game is not coming out next year. Like, guys...
Hey, man. We don't know.
I'll say this. If that game does come out next year, then everyone who bought Travis Strikes Again was straight up just lied to. We were sold Travis Strikes Again on the fact that, hey, I need this to prove that No More Heroes 3 is viable. That game came out in January of this year. You cannot tell me that that game was in development after that game released then.
Well, did you beat the game?
No, I was going to buy it on Switch. The reviews didn't turn me off from buying it, but I was like, I'll chill. And then the PS4 version got announced, and then I found out the only way to get it physically is to import it, and I was like, I'm in no hurry to play it, because, like, I heard it's fun. I heard it's probably the weakest out of all the No More Heroes games, just in terms of, like, its repetitiveness, but I like the concept, and I heard the story is actually the best part about it, and I do know how the main baddie is connected to the CEO from the trailer.
Yeah, but it's like the ending to the game just he lied. Like the game's gonna come out next year because they were working on it.
Well, like I remember the little like ending blurb part, but like the ending kind of makes it sound like, hey, we are doing 3. But I can't imagine like the ending was like, hey, we've been doing 3. Because honestly, if you play through and like all the stuff I've seen of Travis Strikes Again, like I played a little bit of it. It doesn't feel like a game that should have come out at $40. That feels like a $20 game.
Well, that's also Nintendo for you. They always...
No, that was a Marvelous thing. Nintendo published the Switch version, but that was straight up Marvelous showing its Marvelous budget. Which is either, if you have boobs, you have big budget. If you have no boobs, your name is Uppers or Travis Strikes Again and you have no budget.
Oh, don't bring up Uppers, man.
Oh, dude,
don't bring up Uppers.
It's 2019. I don't think we're making the release, dude.
Don't bring it up. Every single day, man. That shit, it makes me so angry.
We're living in a world where Uppers is the most American fucking game ever, and that game cannot get a legal release to save its life.
Yeah.
God, that game is...
It's the reason why when everyone's like, where's SMT5? I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like, at least you guys know it's coming. I don't.
Oh, man. Dude, that's true. If you think you're an SMT fan and you're struggling, look up Uppers. Look up... did you follow much of the Japanese, like, pre-release of it? Like, that game had 3 demos. That game was struggling to come out in Japan.
Because there was no titties. And they were like, all right, we'll give you titties. Here's Daijoji. And you're like, No.
That game is
We
so
went
fun,
titties.
dude. That game is so fun. But we cannot get that game in English to save our lives. Dude,
And I
that is
feel like
so
it's
true.
like
Hashtag where's uppers, dude. SMT fans, take a knee. Give the uppers fans the respect they deserve.
all three of us.
Oh, yeah, you, me, and the fucking creator of the series. He's like, just put out my game. He's like,
Oh my
oh,
god.
did you want us to put out Senran Kagura Peach Ball? No, give me uppers, please.
Well, then Shinron Kagura is dead too. Like that's not coming out
To be
anytime
fair,
soon.
ironically, Sony killed Senran Kagura in the most Sony way possible. Yeah, man. You know what's bad when like, do you follow Adam Boyes? He used to work at Sony.
Uh-uh.
Adam Boyes was one of the originators of PSX. He posted this week, hey, you know that PlayStation convention I started? Would be cool if we still did. Would have been cool if they still kept doing those these days. And it's like, man, that's so true. And like, I think it was Brandon Jones from Easy Allies like replied to him. He just said, yeah, especially when the whole premise of PSX was, we're doing this to give back to you, the fans. We're giving you a home. 2 years later, nah, we're good. We don't need you. Or E3. We're in first place. We're good. We'll try next gen. We're just gonna win the rest of this gen.
Really sucks.
It really sucks to see like how Sony has fallen from grace, but what sucks is they have no actual like we there's no way to punish them. Like they're not like they're making the wrong moves in terms of like their niche fans who stuck with them during the PS3 days, Vita, and early PS4 with indies. But like at the same time, like they're not suffering financially at all because guess what? They're the most popular system and everyone goes to them.
Yeah.
So it really sucks because it's like, and I want to do a video about this, especially the censorship stuff that never gets talked about. Is there's a lot of unbiasedness, especially towards Sony's stricter censorship stuff, and no one brings up the fact that hey, why does no one ever talk about that Atlas Japan can do whatever they want in their games, but every other company gets censored? Like, have you seen some of the art that's in game for 13 Sentinels?
Oh yeah, I saw them post the theme,
Yeah,
PS4 theme, and I was like, what the fuck is this?
Bro, that theme is just straight up porn.
Like she's
I'm
getting
not
fucked by the robots
I'm
and
not
operated.
complaining.
Like, what?
I'm not complaining. Like I forget his name, the artist at Vanillaware. He's an amazing artist.
Yeah.
But like that it's like if you like look at the visual novels that have the hilarious like rays of light censorship, and then like not even that, like look at a game that straight up got canceled from being done. Omega Labyrinth Z cannot come out because it was too fan servicey.
Mm-hmm.
And then Atlas is just over here fucking a girl and a robot.
They're like, yeah, that's fine.
It's
So you guys want to cover up anything? No, it's good.
And it's so weird because like you can't be mad because the only reason Atlas is allowed to do that is because hey, guess what? They are the only Japanese company who has an exclusive like partnership with them still. In the sense of like they would need it. Square Enix doesn't really do risque stuff that this would ever come up, you know? So like the only big Japanese company Sony partners with like in terms of exclusivity stuff is Square Enix, who they kind of do their own thing and they are so westernized anyways they wouldn't really have to go out of the way. But Atlas doesn't even know what America is spelled like, so we joked last week's episode about how Atlas Japan has never once thought about the Western market during its development. I'm willing to tell you right now, no one at Atlas or Vanillaware has ever thought for a millisecond, hey guys, how marketable do you think 13 Sentinels is going to be in the West? Not for a single iota. That is the most Japanese game they've ever made. And it totally fucking bombed. That game bombed harder than World War II, which is really inappropriate, but actually accurate for how bad that game sold.
I mean, isn't that what the game's about? Like, aren't you time traveling?
I'm super intrigued in that game, and I have a video idea I want to do for it, assuming I'm not having any more of my cold. I bet that game gets the Strange Journey treatment, and it has the opposite effect of everyone's really happy. Of like, I think 13 Sentinels would be a really expensive game to localize, let alone dub. And I
Yeah.
think dubbing that game, you would probably lose a lot of its Japanese-ness. And not in like a weeby, like, oh, it's about the culture. In the sense of like, no, like, that's, like, from everything I've picked up in the vibe of 13 Sentinels is like, outside of like, hey, it'd be cool to have a dub, that'd be one that I would definitely kind of understand, and that game is not going to make much money. I don't know.
I feel like if they were gonna do a dub, they should just do it where it's like, who's the only character that canonically can speak English? All right, let's just dub that part.
The robot. It's just the robot. But yeah, man, 2020 gonna be a weird year for Atlas. I can't wait. I cannot wait to keep doing this podcast as 2020 happens. 2019, like, I'm gonna do a year-end review at one point and get a lot of like user feedback and stuff for it, from like you, Andre, and like all the other listeners. But man, 2019 might go down in history as the most boring year in Atlas history, at least from the West. From the Western perspective, this might be their most boring release year ever.
What happened? I'm trying to remember.
What
like,
happened?
no, seriously. I'm trying to remember, like, what came out.
I'm gonna... Do not look up anything. I'm gonna give you as much time as you want. How many Atlas USA games can you name that came out physically?
Physically?
Yeah.
This year. 2019, okay. Yeah. Was Strange Journey this year?
Nope, 2018.
Oh, then, fuck.
Are you ready for the list?
Yes.
Alright, hold on to your butts, everybody. This might even be in chronological order. I might be wrong. Etrian Odyssey Nexus. Persona Q2.
Oh, okay.
Catherine Full Body. Oh no. I think that's it. I actually think that is it.
When did the dancing games come out? That came out
December 2018.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. It's not been a memorable year for Atlas USA. Although at least Catherine Full Body, outside of having really stupid DLC practices, at least Catherine Full Body sold better than I would have guessed. But it came out like just before it could have been a bad release time. Yeah, 2019, man, what a weird, quiet year for them.
They didn't do anything. Wow.
Nothing. Like, really nothing. Like, dude, their E3, their two biggest games was Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games with Sega, and they announced Royal was coming to the West. They didn't show Royal, they just said, oh, it's also coming to the West. But no date. So, yeah, once we get a little closer to January, which is crazy to think that's like 3 weeks away, we're going to be talking about Atlas 2019 and Atlas 2020 as the year goes on. I was going to kind of bring in the news, but I'm kind of enjoying where the conversation's at least right now. Looking ahead at some of the projects that are upcoming for us, at least like right away, I'd like your opinion just because I'm not sure like what the next time you're going to be coming on is. First up, and just think of this as like a wordplay experiment. I'm going to say a name of a game that's Atlas coming up, and I want you to give me your one sentence initial thoughts. No holding back, just like first thing that comes to mind, okay?
Alright.
Tokyo Mirage Sessions.
I'm excited.
Okay. Are you getting?
Yes, day one.
Right. Thank you for not being a Melissa. Everyone out there again, remember.
Fuck Melissa. I'll fight
man.
it.
Oh, man, I don't like this. We got too many Japanese words. I can't read the moon runes.
See, the thing that caught me off with that is like she loves Idolmaster, so I was like, oh, she's gonna love this, and then she's just like, no.
Dude, that's how you know Melissa, dude. She's the bad kind of idol trash. Not saying I know what good idol trash is, but I now know what the bad idol trash is. Persona 5 Royal.
I was excited when it first came out in Japan, but now I'm just like, I don't even care.
Have you spoiled yourself on any of the new stuff?
Yes, I did.
Ooh.
Because I was excited. No, first I was like, no, I'm gonna hold off. But then I was like, I really need to know. and spoiling it for myself pissed me off more.
Oh
So I was like,
no!
because I'm just like,
I've only
fuck Atlas.
spoiled
Like,
myself. I only spoiled myself on Jose. I know that his name is Jose. That's about it.
oh, I don't even know about him. I just
Jose
knew.
is the new Velvet Room dude in the My Palace section.
Nah,
Um, so I'm guessing, are you kind of nebulous on getting Western version of it, or wait and see?
I'm gonna get it, but it's not gonna. It's gonna be like with Catherine. Like, it's just gonna be
Listen, I'm gonna get you, but I won't be happy about it.
because it's like I said before, man. It's I'll hate it, but it's because it's an Atlas game. I gotta get it. You know, like I have to play to just try to enjoy it. I guess.
All right, Scramble.
Definitely, definitely getting that shit. I'm
Man.
importing that shit.
Woo!
I don't even like Muso games, but I'm
Woo!
getting that.
Man, let me tell you, the import bus is coming in hot for Scramble. That Steelbook Collector's Edition is gonna be rolling up into the Presley household. Gonna be like, all right. I don't even need to know what Royal looks like for the next month and 10 days. I am very, very ready to have no idea what happens while I play through that whole game. I'm gonna live my best life playing that game
Hmm.
like a moron.
I really hope that has multiplayer too. Most Muso games do.
That's the weird thing. Like, I'm surprised they've shown so much of it, but we don't have a confirmation either way. So it's an odd one. At the very least, it won't be like a Dynasty Warriors 9 where it at first doesn't have it and there's no real good excuse. Where at least they're doing enough crazy shit in Scramble that if they don't have co-op, I'll at least be like, you know what? They at least are doing something really unique for them in their track
Yeah,
record that I would be okay with that. But then if they do have co-op, it'll be amazing. I'll say this though,
game of the year.
would not be surprised. Oh, dude, honestly, dude, 2020 looks stacked. I can't even think about game of the year. Like I get like I'm starting like leaking a little bit of pre stuff if I start thinking about going this early. Oh my god. So prepare yourself if you are a Switch person. By the way, I bet that is a game that if it does have co-op, is no co-op on Switch and only co-op on PS4.
Or the public be like co-op locally.
No, because they're always co-op locally. Like I think honestly, the last Warriors game that had online. No, actually, I think a majority of the main ones do, but like I know the Nintendo Warriors don't. Like Hyrule and Fire Emblem didn't have online. So just kind of prepare for those ones. Are you planning on getting it on PS4 or Switch?
PS4. I just want it to look the best it can.
Yeah, honestly, because like I think the portability of it will be fine, but that game looks really good. I remember when I did the reaction stream with John, both of us just kept commenting like that Scramble looks considerably better than even Royal.
Yeah.
Um, I won't be mean and say SMT5 or uppers because we know the answer to those already. So I'll at least say this as the wild card answer. I'm trying to think of a good one out there.
If
Ghost.
Uppers does come out, I'm gonna fucking nut like everywhere.
You're gonna. It's gonna come out February 14th, 2020, at a digital price of $50, and they're gonna have no advertisement, and all the DLC you're still gonna have to buy. Please prove me wrong, Marvelous. Please, for the love of God. Our wildcard 2020 question for you before we move on. Ghost of Tsushima. What are you feeling with that game right now? Tell me what your heart says.
When I first saw it, I didn't give a fuck
Oh.
because it's just to me, it's just another Japanese samurai game, and after Sekiro, I'm just like I don't really care anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They don't seem to like explore it, but now I'm kind of like I want to see what else they can do.
Was
It
it
looks nice.
was it the Game Awards that piqued your curiosity in that trailer?
Yeah, the Game Awards trailer, the combat looked nice, and I was like, oh, that looks fucking amazing. Like it kind of reminds me of Way of Samurai a little bit,
Oh man, I miss that series.
and I'm just like, all right, you got me on the boat now. You got me on the boat, and then like It's also it's made by Sucker Punch, and I gotta give them something, because they're over here where I live. So
I would never have guessed that Sucker Punch had enough fellow weebs over there to convince Sony to make a Western-made game that is just all Eastern setting.
hmm.
Like, has that ever really been done before? At least in a AAA setting of like, hey, we're big budget, but we want to be in like Asia. Like
I'm pretty sure it has.
often it'll be like Asian countries want to make stuff in America, but not like, hey, we're from Philadelphia, we want to make a game in China.
I was thinking there was, but no, it was Asian story inspired, and that was
Enslaved?
fuck, what was the yeah. No,
Yeah.
is that Enslaved by
Yeah, from Ninja Theory.
Ninja Theory? Yeah,
Yeah,
it
because it
was
was
that.
based on Odyssey of the West.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the West in this case, not Asia. um, let's just wrap it up with going over all the latest news from P5R. Get your thoughts on it. I talked way too much on it last week. And then go through what the community kind of thinks and wrap it up. How's that sound?
Yeah.
Okay. So first, actually, big thing. I did not cover this in news. This is actually really, really big news. But next week we are going to have a special guest on the podcast, whose name I'm going to now look up because I'm very bad. We are going to have on the show the Velvet Network, who, no joke, I only know about because LaRue posted a thing on Twitter, I think, or maybe even Facebook, giving them a shout out. They are basically the equivalent of like a SMTN for the I guess Spanish speaking community, and
Oh.
they did a video about Catherine with the full body update and stuff like that. And I gave them a shout out because I just saw their name and I was like, oh, they do something similar to us, and they have the word network, and I thought that was really funny. And also one of the things about it is like before we were Persona Podcast, which was the original name before SMTN, we were going to be the Velvet Room, but there was a kind of popular forum called the Velvet Room at the time, and I was like, nah, they'll be around longer than us. We should change our name to something really generic. And then, of course, we've lasted longer than them. So, just thought that was really, really funny. I added them, I gave them a shout out, said, hey man, let me know if you want to collab sometime. And Atlas dropped a big bombshell because when Royal got announced last week, unless you were part of the not English speaking community of the fandom, like we kind of talked about on last week's episode, they decided for whatever reason, I really wish that they had talked about why they waited a week. Atlas announced that Royal, when it comes out in the West in March, is going to have English, French, Italian, Spanish. Oh God, German? No, not German. I might be wrong. I know it's figs or whatever, so I might be wrong. I'm literally looking it up right now just to double check all the languages it has on it. All right, here we go. English, French, German. Yeah, okay, it is. Yeah, it's figs. English, French, Italian, German, Spanish. So, gonna have all of those languages on. We're gonna have the Velvet Network on next week. We're gonna go over. It's gonna be a one-on-one show, but the cool thing about this one is it's going to be uh, basically us going over what this means for the international speaking community, because there are so many fans of the series who just straight up can't enjoy the game in any at least official capacity with their native language and stuff, or I mean, or at least not even language, just straight up with text. So their perspective will be, I think, really interesting to have on the show and talk about. But that's why we're not talking about that announcement, because even if you hear that right now and don't think that's a big deal, that is so many hundreds of thousands, if not almost like a million people who can now experience P5 for the first time in their like native language. Like we talked about how I think Persona 5R was going to have a really hard time selling 100,000 last week. Like even if they just added in Spanish, I think that like that would have sold over the 100,000 easily. Like now with all these extra language, like the game's gonna do way better internationally than it will in the States just because of
Hmm.
this now. Like that's such a huge thing for it. Like you've been lucky in the past if it had like French, but yeah, having eFigs is really really big. And we're gonna go over that in a way more serious, less probably talking about Monster Hunters and uppers next week. Not discrediting this though. I'm really really fucking digging this, but the the actual video essay will begin next week. So then bring your homework. But yeah, so Andre, all the Western news hit. Let's try not to go into the fucking disaster and a half that was the Wear the Mask event. What was your thoughts on the collector's edition first, just to get your kind of feedback on it?
I really don't care about it. I mean, like, what else can they give me other than the soundtrack that I could get online?
A shirt. Could get a
Yeah,
shirt.
I don't really care about that. Like, I saw it and I was just like, oh, look, nice mask. I don't care. I'm not spending what $100 for that shit.
It's not
So,
even.
like,
That's the thing. It's not even $100, and it. I feel is having it's still asking a little much even from collectors and stuff. Okay, so what about the release date? Because we already know your opinion on the game itself. How do you feel personally about the March 31st release date?
that's one of the reasons why I'm probably gonna wait on getting it,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like right after Final Fantasy VII, and I'm just like, fuck, like that's too close.
That's a really weird way to say Animal Crossing New Horizon. I've
Oh
never.
my god, I forgot about that.
Dude, that's
Whoa!
that is less than a week after Animal Crossing.
On Doom 2 as well.
Mm-hmm. Listen,
See, yeah,
listen,
that's
be
gonna
real to
that's
me. Are you going to want to play Persona 5 again for another 100 hours? Or are you going to want to meet your best friend who you haven't seen in many years, Isabel, have her talk to you and go, and then when you do good things like pull out leaves all day, you can hear the villagers do the.
yeah, that was a really good impression. Like,
That's how I talk to myself in just Animal Crossing voices. Be like, Spencer, why are you so dummy thick all the time? And I'll just be like,
but I'll probably go with Animal Crossing because it'd
mhm.
be something new. I mean,
Wholesome.
like,
Wholesome.
from the stuff that I've seen, the new shit doesn't happen for a while. So I'm like, if I do, when I do play it again, I'm gonna skip through a lot of shit.
A little bit of a weird thing, and I don't want to get into spoilers, but I am aware of as much of the new content as I can be without being spoiled at all, spoiled.
You know, spoiled.
You can tell I've really not had much contact outside of me being sick all week. Um, do you think they would benefit by having an option like Fez, where it's a hey, your progress obviously is not going to carry over because they've changed so much of the base game.
Hmm.
But if you just want to skip to the new the new semester, do you think that would entice more players?
I think it would, but that would only entice the people who don't actually know like all the changes to the game.
Yeah, and
Because there
I
are.
guess it's tough too because honestly, and this is also still not going to spoilers. The weirdest part that I found out about Royal is that it's kind of like Catherine Full Body, whereas actually Royal seems to have way more new content than Full Body. But
Yeah.
Full Body's new night and biggest change of an ending, you have to go super out of your way for. And Royal's the same way. Like, you can miss the new semester in Royal if you fuck up how you're playing through the game.
And you can miss the whole thing in the beginning of the game if you don't do a certain thing.
Yeah,
Like,
so it's like really weird because like there's not gonna be a moment where they're like, hey, you're gonna have a vanilla experience if you don't do this, just letting you know. It's really weird.
but it's like I feel like that would work if the game was just the same. Like if the beginning of the game was just the same, then it'd be fine. But because they've changed so much, where it's just like, oh, it's just, I mean, it's a little itty bitty changes, but it's like it's enough to play through it again. Unlike Catherine, uh, most people wouldn't be fine with that.
I think the
Uh,
only reason Catherine gets away with it is because it was like almost a decade in between releases.
yeah.
Um. Okay, so I guess besides that, we've been over very bad release date choice. Cannot stress that enough as even more games get announced. Which, by the way, another reminder: 5 days after Persona 5 Royal comes out, Resident Evil 3 remake comes out, and it will stomp its face with hype. You better
Oh
pray.
shit.
You better pray to God my dumb butt gets a review code for P5R, otherwise the Resident Evil steamboat's just gonna be rolling in going woo. Oh man, the amount of hype I've gotten from just thinking of Resident Evil 3 remake is, oh my god. Like, did you see they stealth updated the demo?
Oh yeah, they put in
Oh
the
my god! All they had to do was just put in a sound effect of Nemesis, and I got goosebumps, dude.
oh they put more in it too.
Oh, dude, wait, what else is added in it?
Well, they put in a new trophy,
No,
and
no,
it's only
no,
for
no. That's the game.
oh
They put out a demo. This is exclusive to the demo. So remember when
oh
RE2 had a demo back in January? They released that demo now without the time limit.
okay. I was like, what the fuck is that for? I was like,
Mm-hmm.
that's stupid.
Yo. So get this. In the new demo, and this is only in the new demo, the files are not in the new update for the game for RE2. On the new demo of RE2 exclusively, if you go outside the Raccoon City Police Department, there's the cemetery, and if you go to the locked door right in the corner, you can hear Nemesis say stars.
Oh shit.
Oh
That's cool.
man. Oh man. Capcom knows how to hype, dude. Capcom is like, I don't know what doo-doo pills they were on during the like Street Fighter V era of things, but man, I'm glad they fixed things after Resident Evil 7.
What was his
Like,
name again?
Nemesis?
No. The person who was like in charge of Capcom back then. Forgot his name.
We don't really have a thing to blame, and I mean, in terms of Street Fighter V, like probably some decisions are to blame by Ono, but like I think honestly, I think more of management as a whole probably stopped Capcom from being really good, but I think there's no way we would have a Capcom as good as we have it now in 2019 if they didn't fall on their face so hard during the end of the PS3 era. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is so funny because honestly, when that era started, like starting that generation with Dead Rising and with DMC4, like they had some problems, but they still had a lot of really good ideas. And then now they're just, I mean, listen, this is just a straight up fact, guys. I don't care if you like the game or not. If you think, like, if you can look me in the eyes and say 2019 was a boring year for video games, and then remember the fact that Devil May Cry 5 is a thing that exists now, you're just lying. You're actually lying. Oh my god. Have you, like, I'm trying to remember actually. Are you much of a DMC fan, Andre?
Yeah. That's how I got into
How?
SMT.
Oh yes, don't. We talk. I'm sorry. Remember, I got doo doo brain right now. Like, just listening to the DMC5 soundtrack at work while I was sick this week made me feel like, dude, I gotta pop in DMC5 again. That game is just too good. Too good. We don't deserve DMC to be back as good as it is. And that's coming from someone who actually likes Ninja Theory's DMC way more than most 99% of people out there. Alright. Boy, this Persona 5 Royal segment sure is getting very DMC heavy talk. So everybody, we're going to end this show that has no rails. I can't even say we're off the rails. By going over what the community thought of Persona 5 Royal. This is going to be a bit of answers from today and a bit from last week, because last week we did not get to any community opinions, because last week's show was an actual dumpster fire. In a good way, though. So, our first opinion comes from Twitter. This is Juiced Up. Says, as someone who can understand Japanese and has only played P5, P5 through Royal. So he never played OG P5. He has played P5 Royal on its own. He can say that the new story is incredibly worth it. I gotta say, that's gotta be such an incredible, like, opinion to go through. I'm currently playing through P5 finally all the way through now before Royal, because I don't care how much like copying there is. Like I just want to know how different it really is. Like it's not like Catherine where like, even a decade later, like I knew how much like rinse and repeat was in Catherine. Like if I just kind of knew what was in Royal, I feel like I'd still like not really be aware. Like I want to either appreciate how much is different and judge it on that fact. But that'll be an interesting opinion for those people out there who somehow missed 5 but are interested in Royal. I'll be really curious like how many people are like that in the Western release.
Oh, it's all the Switch owners.
Where's the Switch version? I need it on Switch. It's just like, who's sitting there with the Switch like, guys, why do we have no games? Our system has no games. Why can't we do anything with this fucking system?
Yeah, and you'd be like, oh, there's Xenoblade Chronicles 2. They're just like, no, that's not good. I want Persona 5. No. It's like, fuck you, man.
Thanks, yeah, not like there's these hundreds and hundreds of other RPGs that no one's giving us any opinions on. Alright, so let me pull up the Facebook one next, because now I'm just going through all these people. I was scrolling through old Twitter stuff, and was back in the days where Atlas lost their blue check mark, and I was like, ooh, this was the dark times.
Oh, yeah, how's Atlas USA doing?
Atlas USA still dead. Atlas West is still its new owner, but they are at least verified now, so we know which one is which. So this is from the Facebook group, a place both of us are very familiar with. Let me see how long it takes for one man to find his own thread in a group he made. There we go. Alright, so our first Facebook opinions on P5R come from Patrick Harlow. He says, I am extremely excited, but ultimately I'm trying to keep my hopes low. I thought P5 was fantastic and blew me away, but it's hard not to buy into the whole Atlas is just milking Persona 5 to death. If anything, I'm just excited to see the changes and new story points. Next up comes from Damien Currit. Says, I'm still hyped for it. We will probably see a new Persona 5 Royal the animation as... Oh, my... How have I not thought about that? We probably will at some point. Which, I will say this again. Persona 4 Golden has the best anime that never needed to exist in all time. It is the best filler anime life I've ever seen. And it's actually sad, because that's actually probably the last time I watched an anime, like, dedicatedly. Like, when Golden came out, I think, like, when we were doing the episodes of the podcast, is like, when Golden was coming out weekly, and we would, like, talk about it. Oh, man, I miss Golden. Are you in the camp of that Golden was too filler to be fun, or did you enjoy Golden's anime?
I did not enjoy it at all. I mean, there were some parts that I saw that I was like, oh, that's nice, but I didn't fuck with it.
What killed it for you? Was it just the studio change? It's like too goofy to enjoy?
No, it was just the way that it looked. It didn't look as good compared to the original anime.
Well, I mean, like, let's be real. Studio 4C is hard to match in terms of equal quality, and I think even Studio 4C has found that out by. I still can't believe not enough people bring this up. It is really sad that the new cutscenes in Catherine Full Body by the same animation company look worse than the ones from 9 years ago. Right? That's weird, right? You
can see a clear difference between the two.
That's called budget, everybody. That's called when the budget runs out. So that's funny that the looks would do it for you, because for me, one of the ways I've enjoyed Golden's anime the most was you know how I know there's an actual name for this for like when mangakas will put like a 4-strip panel at the end of like a chapter or like in between like volumes, you know?
Coma? Whatever, 4-panel coma?
Yeah, so like I love those a lot in terms of just like kind of unconsequential storytelling that are sometimes related, but as long as you have a general grasp of the characters, it doesn't matter what order you read them in.
Yeah.
That's how the Golden anime was like for me. You're not going into the Golden anime for its story. It honestly, like, the Golden anime has 2 serious episodes. The Golden anime is serious at the end of Marie's arc and during probably its best episode that's not a comedy. I think the Adachi OVA is the best of that series in terms of quality. Like,
I enjoyed that too.
that was really good in the very least in terms of like they did what the OG anime didn't even do of like, hey, here is just a Adachi ass episode, and I think that episode was super killer. I think that one gets forgotten about a lot, but I think it's really easy to dog on Golden's anime, but people forget about that OVA. That OVA is pretty solid.
But it's also the fact that the Golden anime is literally just supposed to. It was supposed to emulate the feeling of you going and playing the game again, but you know everything. You have your strong ass personas.
That's the best part about it is that he just it's new King man. Yeah, you forgot about that. It's that analogy is so perfect because that is true. It's just New Game Plus the anime. Which, like, has that even ever been done before?
As far as I can remember, no.
Oh,
Like,
man.
because like he even chooses the option. It's like he shakes the teacher's hand, and it's like, oh shit,
dude. Episode 1. Oh my, literally. I will never. I don't know. I shouldn't say never. I just have never met anyone who doesn't like Golden's anime and then told me why, and then it hasn't just become a positive for me. Because, like, all the reasons you listed why you don't like it, I'm like, no, that's why I love it. So, like, so I'm going to shut up, actually, and drink my water, because my throat is killing me. Tell me why these reasons are negatives to the anime as a product.
Well, it's not really anything negative. It's just my own, like
what would you have wanted out of a Golden animation,
then? The way that it presented itself was fine. Like, I like the whole concept of the New Game Plus. It was just literally just the animation that just put me off, and I was just like, I don't even care. And it was also at the time, it was like, where's Persona 1 and 2 shit at the time? And I was just like, we could have got her.
That's its only real, like, thing you can kind of throw in its face of, like, that was back in the days of, like, PQ, where Atlas literally would make memes in Japan about Persona 4 milking. Like, that drawing of you holding up a cow. It's like, they even knew they were milking it, but, like, oh, man. Yeah. I'm trying to remember, who was the animation company who did Golden? I'm really drawing a blank on it. I think their name maybe begins with an A.
I think it was IG?
Probably. Yes, that does sound familiar. If you want to look that up.
Because if I remember correctly, it was the same people who did the Persona 3 movies, and that's why I was so confused. It's like, why does it look so different? But it makes sense. There's more budget for the movies.
I thought the Persona 3 movies were done by 4C, and that's why IG had to do Golden.
It wasn't IG, it was A1.
Oh,
A1.
yes. Alright, so I was right. It was A something. But
so
yeah.
A1, they did the Persona Trinity Souls.
I do remember that. I remember leading into Golden, us dogging on them because they'd done Trinity Souls. But yeah, they did the movies too. What?
Yeah. Wow. They didn't do the first one, but they did 2, 3, and 4.
Man. Remember when 4 and some change Persona movies came out and none of them got an official English release?
Yeah, and then the second movie just showed up on Netflix for no reason, and it was like...
Oh, dude, is that still there?
I don't think it's there anymore. I think they took it off.
I remember that. Yeah, that was a weird day of like, today in imports? Oh, man. What a weird... Man, the world of Persona anime, I wish I could be into more. Like, when we started the show, and the fact that we were getting dubbed with original voice actors from Golden in the anime, I was like, this is amazing. Like, this is what I want. The show's not perfect, but it super has the great moments and the vibes, and it looks great. It's done by the same production company. And then Amniplex said, more money, please. And the voice actors were like, give us healthcare, please. And Amniplex was like, no. We'll give you very expensive box sets you're not going to buy and stream illegally. Okay, so let's go back though to Damien's original point though. What what do we want if we want a P5R animation? Let's
I would
say
say
it's up to us. We're the board members. What kind of thing are we going for with that?
I would say just skip all the shit that we already know. Just go to Kasumi and just focus on the new stuff. Like make it kind of like its own original Persona 5 thing. Like it does not have to follow the game per se, but like just give us the third semester. That's it.
I could see that. Yeah, especially from like given like a speed run of it. Let's say it's like a 12 episode run like Golden of like here are new people, meet the new counselor, the cast like have a montage episode and then like make the last 8 episodes all be.
Well, even with that, like not trying to go into spoilers, but there's a perfect way they can just do the anime. Like it's so perfect where they can just be like, this is the anime. People who are watching will be like, wow, this is weird. Why is the character acting so different compared to the original game?
Mm,
Like
I want to
it's
know
so
so bad,
perfect.
but I don't want to spoil.
It would be the perfect way if they did it like that.
Hmm.
Then best Persona anime.
Okay, interesting. That makes me actually more excited for some of the changes, but we will have to see. Um, Let us see. Oh, by the way, I have not touched the P5 anime at all. Did you ever watch that or any of its
I
OVAs?
I watched the Valentine's Day one and I posted it on here. I was like Ryuji and Joker are fucking because it's the like he's like, all right, I'm about to go home, and then it like goes outside the out of his house, and it shows them hug or something, but it looks like they're kissing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, they just started fucking after that. And then I watched the final episode one where they fight Yabadoth and shit, and I thought, it was alright.
Man, thank God, Persona names with no context. Like no, I don't know who that is, and I can't
Oh
even. I
shit.
can't. Well, dude, what am I gonna fucking just Google search Yabba Dabba Doo? I
If you
don't
do,
know.
you
I don't know what the fuck you just said. So I'm like, you know what? I can't even be mad as a spoiler. You just said Yabadath, and
to a bunch of shit. Like
I'm like, all right.
that character has been in SMT for so long that me telling you that name is not gonna it's
Yeah,
not gonna fuck up.
yeah. It's like, okay, I have probably an inkling of what you mean, but I have no context. I'm like, what?
That's like if I said, oh, after they got done fighting Lucifer, then you're just like, okay, which game is
Oh
that?
man, dude, you didn't tell me God's in this game. We
Yeah.
punched God in this game. Come on, man. Yeah. So my only experience with the P5 was that first episode they aired before the JP release of the game. You remember that?
Oh, uh, uh, it was the Mementos one.
I think so. Yeah, yeah. Because I guess that was an OVA before they announced the series.
Yeah, because yeah, it was it's an actual mission in the game. It was called Daybreakers.
Oh yeah, man. Dude, that was over 3 years ago. Do you feel old yet?
Yeah, because I remember I was watching that when I worked at Walmart. Like I downloaded the episode and was watching it in the lobby area for like all the workers, and they're like, "What is this?" And like, it's Persona 5. It's like looking so cool. Dang, holy shit. That was back in 2016, 15.
That feels like a lifetime ago.
Phew.
Man, that was a Walmart ago, let me tell you. Let's see. Our next P5R hot take comes from Jose Juan. Says, I'm getting the collector's edition and that's pretty much it. I'm still mad that it does not include the DLC outfits out of the vanilla version, though. Wait, what? I'm mad that it doesn't include the DLC outfits of the vanilla version, though. I'm gonna guess he assumes he means on the disc. Because it
Yeah.
is stupid you have to download it. This is me assuming, because as we found out last week, all base P5 DLC will be free and royal. Which, hey, maybe make the DLC not purchasable for P5 anymore? Because then that just means all the DLC up for P5 is just asking money for nothing. Just
But they won't get that money though.
more money,
That-
please.
that's the donation
Yeah,
links
the
right there.
donation. Yeah, man. Here's my Venmo. Everyone report Atlas for TikTok hoeing, please, ASAP. Either way, he says, I'm still mad it does not have the DLC outfits included in the vanilla version. It's like Atlas slowly turning into what Capcom was
Okay, hold
back in
on.
20. To be fair, I think actually I know now what he means. I think he's saying he's still mad that there was DLC at all in the vanilla version.
Nah.
I can kind of see that. I'm like, because like, guess what? It's still the same case with Royal. Royal is coming out, and we're gonna have $60 of DLC to buy in a $60 game day one.
Yeah.
That is a Capcom Street Fighter Cross Tekken ass move, and I love Atlas. That's some shady ass shit.
The only thing I have to say is just like,
Don't buy it.
no, it's like Atlas has been doing this way longer. Like this is the first time they did this shit, so I don't know why everyone's like
No, this
shocked
isn't the
about it.
first time. Oh, sorry, no wait. Do you mean this isn't the first time?
No, it's not the first time
Yeah,
because it
oh,
was
no,
like with Devil Survivor
yeah.
2 and
Well,
shit.
no, I'm just saying because you said this is the first time they've done
Oh,
this.
sorry, I meant to say this isn't.
No,
Sorry.
yeah, you're good. Um, I think it's more noticeable because this is their Persona 5 was their first HD game in terms of RPGs where they did this. Because let's be
Mm.
real, Atlas is trash at making DLC. I'm a diehard fan, and I can say this out loud. Atlas makes trash DLC 9 out of 10 times. They make good ones every now and then. There's a fucking Blue Moon where there are no budget DLC practices. They make one good piece of content. Most of it is really low effort and way overcharged. And if you remember any of the 3DS games, the DLC, all of those are the equivalent of like a Unity store asset flip. That's how much effort goes into the DS games for DLC.
Mm.
Um,
Oh fucking isn't it like SMT4's DLC is like forever gone now? Like you can't even get
mm,
it.
I don't think it's gone. I think the only ones that are unobtainable are the pre-order bonus themes, which, by the way, guys, never forget the amazing costumes in 4 in Apocalypse. Like, just remember Best Buy Nanashi is a thing. Never forget that image, everybody. We can remember cross-dressing Nanashi all day, but until I see someone at a Best Buy dressing up as Nanashi, it didn't count for nothing.
Yeah, we gotta get
Also,
Marcus on that.
oh my god. No, we need to have Marcus dress up as Amazon Coat Flynn. I remember the Amazon pre-order coat confused me so much because I didn't realize that the squiggles on him was just the Amazon like swoop. Man, Atlas that was some weird DLC. I wasn't even mad at that. Pre-order DLC for Atlas games back then was just kind of goofy and weird. The GameStop hoodie. Do you remember the GameStop hoodie?
Mm.
That was doubly annoying because there was a EB Games exclusive outfit for Canada and a GameStop in America exclusive outfit. Oh man, I'm gonna get sad just thinking about this. Speaking of Marcus, though, Marcus says this about Persona 5 Royal: it is a game and looks like we all will be buying it. This man is speaking the truth.
I mean, he is kind of. We are bound by the devils.
Oh man. Jason Griffin says, why didn't they release it as paid DLC as a patch? Forcing us to buy an entire new game is dumb money grab, especially when it's on the same console as the first. Andre, what's your take on this? I feel like I might have a longer answer.
As much as I like say like I don't really care about the game, I fucking hate it when I see this comment everywhere on Twitter, Facebook. It's not just oh here we're adding a character to it like Persona 4 Golden was. It's literally like we're changing different mechanics, we're adding new social links, we're changing how social links work, we're putting an entire like 30 to 40 hour long session in the game for more gameplay. No, that's not that doesn't seem like a DLC patch to me. I don't know any game that's ever done shit like that before. Monster Hunter has never done shit like that before. They'll literally just bring out another game for you. So I don't get why everyone keeps saying that. Like, oh, it could have been a DLC patch. It's like, no, it couldn't, because you're literally changing the entire game.
I think people say this because of the society we live in with like big expansions like The Witcher and stuff like that. I think at the same time there is no standard for having both versions of a game like this exist in one SKU. Like when Kingdom Hearts 1.5 came out, there wasn't a toggle for Final Mix. You just had Final Mix. They weren't keeping in both different versions. And this is going to come from a really weird, kind of sounds like entitled fanboy apologist answer, but I think from a historical aspect, I prefer Atlas keeping them separate in the sense of, hey guys, Persona 5 has been patched in 3 years 0 times. That doesn't mean it shouldn't have been patched, or they shouldn't have fixed things like translation issues or like lifted sharing restrictions and stuff like that. But when they sold us that game in 2017 is still going to be the same game 1,000 years from now on that disc. And when Royal comes out, I doubt we will be getting that many patches, if any at all, and we will be able to compare them so much easier as time goes on. Whereas, like, I don't know, like, how much of a Kingdom Hearts fan are you, like, Andre?
I stopped at 2.
Okay, but, like, you're aware of how Final Mix had changes, right?
Yeah, like they changed a lot of stuff in it.
Name me 5 changes right now.
Okay, they added more bosses.
Yes.
They added more story to it, more voice acting, if I remember correctly. They added in. Fuck, what was it?
So see what I mean? Of like when a version replaces the original, it kind of bleeds together outside of the big stuff. And even Kingdom Hearts 1 Final Mix, it added a lot, but most people don't think about it. Like, that game added, I think, 13 to 7 new Heartless that were all for new stuff. They revamped the entire synthesis guide. They added new cutscenes that were all in English. The Japanese version of Final Mix never had a English dub. It was always the English. It was always the English one because the English one was better known at the time. It added a secret ending. It added recolored enemies. Remember that was the thing in Final Mix 1, 2, and even Birth by Sleep Final Mix of just, hey, we just palette swapped all the characters in the game. Which is like, it's easy to kind of almost make a joke about that, but at least there was like, oh hey, they want this to feel different.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if I was like, hey, what color was the monkey enemy in Final Mix on Tarzan's level, and then what was it in the original game? You're not going to remember, hey, it was blue in one and green in the other. You're going to be like, who fucking cares? So in that aspect of like historical preservation, it makes sense. I think the big issue we should, if you want to complain about Royal being a thing you have to buy again 3.5 years later, I think you should complain. Oh god, honestly, it's almost no, actually, yeah. By the time Royal comes out in the West, it'll be like a week or so. It'll be like about a week or two before its 3-year anniversary. So. Yeah. I think the real complaint people should voice is, why are you charging me $60 for this? That is a better voice to complain of, saying, hey, this has worth. The amount of effort they went into changing the base game holds its worth, obviously. But at the same time, from the customer's perspective, hey, Persona 5 is like a $10 game right now. Why are you making me pay $50 more just for you to give me what you think is the better version? Which then, obviously, yes, that's a jaded consumer answer. At the same point, you kind of have to find that middle ground. I think Persona 5 Royal, as a $40 game, sells a lot more copies. Unfortunately, as most people listening to this probably don't know, Persona 5 Royal sold for about $80 plus tax in Japan.
Ooh.
Yeah. That was 3 years after release and some change, and it was an $80+ game, which sold over 300,000 like units in like a month. So, different marketplaces, different expectations, just stuff to kind of consider. Jason, your opinion is not invalid. It's super valid. It just has a lot of caveats, but at the same time, Andre brings up a ton of really good points. This was not a nothing for nothings patch. This was not a Final Fantasy 15, hey, let's add an extra cutscene and playable chapter with the Gladio. This was, hey, we're adding a lot of voice acting, we're adding a lot of music, we're adding a lot of gameplay changes. Like, guess what? There are some aspects to Kamoshida's dungeon from Persona 5 that you will not see if you play Royal. And
Oh,
vice
yeah.
versa. So, like, stuff like that, it's just like, hey, 10 years after Royal releases, are you going to remember the dungeon from Vanilla instead of Royal more? Probably not, because Royal is the new one. I don't know. What is your thoughts?
It's just like that. Like, I mean, we all played these games. Atlas has done this for years. There's always going to be the first game and then the upgraded version. So it's like, to me, I don't even really care. Like, they're going to keep doing it.
It's actually funny. I feel like they, in the PS2 days, were a lot faster. And obviously HD game development makes things a lot harder.
The PS2 games are the only ones that don't have upgraded versions. Oh, actually, no.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. Like Nocturne has one. I think I want to say at least one of the Devil Summoner games have it, but I might be wrong. I know 2 doesn't. Either way, we know Nocturne has a version that I'm forgetting its name of, but it's the one with the silver cover.
It's the Maniacs Chronicle edition.
Yes.
But even that didn't really change much. It just changed like a couple of
but that like
a couple of things and then added in Rido.
But sorry, you can tell I'm losing my steam here. Cases like Persona 3 Fez, cases like Persona 4 Golden, like Fez came out a year later.
Yeah.
Fez adds a lot of stuff. It's a lot of rinse and repeat stuff. But take Persona 4 to Persona 4 Golden, for example. That was a 4-year wait. That was a 4-year wait for Golden's content. I love Golden. Most people here love Golden. If you're listening to this, you probably played Golden. If you're listening to this and someone haven't played Golden, what's wrong with you? Get your Vita out. I've got 3. Come play mine. I don't care. We'll hang out. The whole point of this, though, Golden, for a 4-year wait, did not justify being a full-price video game again. In this situation, it waited so long and it made it to another platform. The platform justified the game's re-release. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, Golden adds a lot of cool stuff and a lot of really helpful features. But if Golden came out in the year 2012 on PS2, which it could have, like, imagine the shitstorm people would have given that game on PS2.
That would have been terrible.
Uh-huh. And that was a great game, but I mean, important to remember, Persona 4 came out 2 years in America after the PS3 was already out. Other little things that have an interesting note of comparison. Devil Survivor 1, Andre, do you remember off the top of your head what year that came out? Was it 09?
It had to be, I want to say 08 because the Overclock came out at 11.
Mm-hmm. So either way, that one, I remember, did not have a ton of new content. That Overclock's biggest thing has one new day and voice acting. Which obviously voice acting is big, but important to remember how long of a wait it was from the release of Devil Survivor 2 to Record Breaker.
Oh, fuck.
That game got delayed into oblivion. Atlas just straight up stopped talking about that game. And it's so funny because if you look at it from the outside, like, Record Breaker is like, oh, okay, so they just added a new campaign. No. They added a new game. Record Breaker is just a new game.
They're like, first they changed the main game, and then they're just like, oh, here's another 30-hour game right here.
On top of adding voice acting.
Yeah.
Oh man, by the way, I think people do not give Record Breaker enough fucking props of like, what a great game. Let alone like a great edition. Like the way people always like say how Golden is like such a good example of like how to bring a game that's already great and to make it even better on a different platform. Like that, I always think of like, I don't think Record Breaker is my favorite platform. I mean, my favorite SMT on 3DS. But it's at least top 3. It is so good. And it does so much. We do not deserve Record Breaker. But yeah, so Atlas can spend clearly 3 years making a lot of changes, and can spend 8 years and make not a lot of changes with stuff like full body. So it's very uneven. It makes it hard to kind of critique. Speaking of things that are hard to critique, our next critique comes from Dennis Champion. Gives us a resounding meh,
Meh.
meh. Followed up by Matto, who says
Big man.
big meh. I'm gonna skip it most likely.
I'm gonna watch him. I'm gonna watch him.
I'll
If I
see.
see him
I'll
post
see
something,
you in March, dude. Oh man, I'm ready. Getting that screenshot. The receipts are being dropped on that day. When I see his tongue touch that copy, dude, the post button is just. Oh man. Oh wow. I am so sorry for what I'm about to do to this guy's name.
Britannia.
What? How do you say that smooth? What? All right. He's now said that name. Britannia Anna?
I would think that's how you say it.
I guess so. Well, that is their name allegedly out of our mouths. Says already pre-ordered and hyped. Just laughing at all the people mad who think Vanilla P4 and P4G, who played Vanilla 4 and P4G and think P5R should have been DLC. In which case we have Jason coming in with a rebuttal. Says Persona 4 Golden was a different game on a different system. Going back to my point. It was a modified port, and they also didn't have a patch DLC capabilities back then. At present, we are talking about a modified version of a game on a console that allows DLC downloads. Love that he says downloads in there twice. We can't DLC. And updates at a $60 price tag is stupid. So, going back to our point, I won't really double dip into that conversation again. Irene Pierce says, don't care about it at all. Tiago says pre-ordering Phantom Thieves Edition. Nicholas Allen Hun says,
hey, Tiago got money.
Tiago had that F at CE money. You know, you're like, yo man, add 3 more games into March. I don't give a shit. Nicholas says, I won't be getting it. I already have the original and plenty of other games to play. I am the type that normally doesn't buy DLC to games, let alone rebuying entire games just for a little bit more stuff. Well, remember, Nicholas, when that comes out, make sure you at least check out the new stuff, because you never know. David is our final one. David Triado says, I don't think I'll get it. Took long enough for me to finish the vanilla one as is, and although I've loved it, it wasn't my favorite of all. And actually, I want to bring this up. I don't know, Audrey, how much you have to say about this as our kind of final point about Royal, talking about some differences in general opinion. One of the most interesting changes that I really want to do after I finish vanilla P5 and when I finish P5R is I really want to dig into Atlas's comments on the fact that they've retuned the game to make it have new content, but because of the performance enhancements and just the general flow of the game, they said it should not be much longer than your first playthrough of P5, even with the new semester.
See, I think that's a lie, because a lot of the stuff from when I watched the guy streaming it was like, there's a lot of shit in here that in the third semester, there's a lot of shit that would at least add another like 20 hours in it. If you're just going at a normal pace, not trying to do everything.
But yeah, but that's why I'm also saying like it's also the performance stuff they're adding. Whereas like I'm playing through P5 on like PS4 and it has no benefits on the Pro. Whereas it has benefits on Pro. So basically, loads theoretically getting cut up, being a lot more stuff. And obviously, if this is your second playthrough, you're gonna have a lot less redundancies of what do I do in April, what do I do in May, stuff like that. I think the Atlas from the comment from Atlas may be more referring to your second playthrough of Persona 5 through Royal will not feel like another 100 plus hours of tedium. It'll feel like a fresher, maybe like a not even abridged, because obviously it's adding new stuff, but like there is stuff that is like moved around and probably tightened up a little bit.
See, that's another thing too, because I remember reading a post and it said that they changed some of the answers to things, so I feel like it's still kind of a lie a little bit, because like they changed the answer, so you're not, if you've played it, you're not going to go in there and be like, oh, I know the answer, and it's completely different thing.
I think that would also be boring if you didn't know that, but at least in the sense of like if you go in knowing it, I wonder, like a good example is when did you beat P5? Did you beat it in 17?
I beat it last year. It
Okay.
took me a hella long to beat it.
So let's say like when you finally play and beat P5R, it's been longer for you. Are you going to be like, "Huh, that was a lot fresher of an experience than I thought?" Whereas I'm by the time I probably finish P5, I will be happy if it is not February. So if I beat it with and have like a 2 month break in between, I wonder if the game is good enough for me to not have that moment of, I feel like I'm doing the same again.
I feel like you're not because, like with me, it's literally been like 2 years since I started because I started it back in when it first came out. The first part, up until Futaba, is gonna be where I'm like, my memory's a little foggy,
Hmm.
you know. But like after that, I'm gonna know what to do after that.
I have one non-spoiler question for Vanilla P5. Is, in your opinion, and just because I've heard more people talk about this recently, do you think the problem with the last few dungeons in Persona 5 is it that they are too long, or that the game has too many dungeons to get to the end?
The last two dungeons, so
Not the last two specifically. I mean, are there? This is kind of a either or question. Does the game feel like it has too many dungeons to beat it? Like, are there like too many number of dungeons? I think Vanilla P5 has 11. If I'm
uh, I would say they're just too long.
Okay, because I know I've heard
Um,
I know I've heard from a lot of people, especially back when it did come out. I think it's after Futaba's dungeon, the length gets considerably longer to beat
well,
each dungeon.
the dungeon after Futaba's is fine because it's also fun. It's like one of the most fun dungeons out of it besides Futaba's. But the one after that is like it starts out being fun, but it's the problem that Persona 5 has, and Persona 4 and 3 might have it. I have to go play those again, but it's the fact that like every few steps you take, here's a cutscene. All right, now here's the team talking about what they're gonna do. All right, start walking. Here's a cutscene, and it's like you get stopped a lot, and I think that's what makes the last two dungeons longer, because there's always a moment where they gotta talk to each other, like, oh my god, I can't believe this is happening. And it's like, come on, let's just keep going and let me just play the game.
Okay, interesting. Well, man, I appreciate all of your insight. Your spoiler that does not spoil the game for me. I appreciate you coming on, all the awesome, awesome work you've helped me with over the years of not only being a member of the community, but also just being a great mod and a good friend. So thank you again. Thank you again for coming on, man. I'm
I think
bummed.
there was a
Oh, what?
I think there was like a time where I was like the dark mod.
The dark mod. Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to tell you. Compared to how, and even though I know Torin is not white, that man acts very, very white already. Between me, Torin, and you, I'm sorry, you are the dark mod.
Because I remember I was just fucking, just like, oh, you did something wrong? Get the fuck out of here. like, like it was bad. I
Well,
kind of calmed down a little bit. I like went full law on people
that's
at the
okay.
time.
I mean, we could get into member history. We were talking about a certain old admin back in the day who no longer is a fan of mine. Remember how
Hello?
impassioned
Oh.
he would get?
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
But either way, thank you for listening. Thank you for partaking. Thank you for watching my descent into madness as we start talking about uppers all the way into actually talking about SMT and Persona. Um,
They didn't respond to my tweet.
Not yet. They're waiting for the show to go live. Then they'll start feeling the sweat. By the way, did you tweet to Marvelous USA or who'd you tweet to?
Oh fuck! I just tweeted it to Marvelous Games.
Nah, dude, they don't care about us.
Damn.
Our money's no good to them. Trying to remember what I was gonna say. Andre, where can people find you online?
Well, you can find me in this group. I remember I thought about like showing off my shit, but I don't want people to know my real name and my YouTube name and shit being together. So I was like, yeah, let's just
So
keep that separate.
what you're saying is you don't want to be lewd on main.
Nah, I'm already lewd on
I was gonna say,
everywhere
yeah,
else,
you
but
are you're more lewd on Maine than on not Maine.
it's just like I'm like scared of being like doxxed and shit, and
I
that's been
w-
happening a lot.
I wish, dude, man, I will listen to people like LaRue and John slash Gnarly talk like, yo, man, our Discord is blowing off. Everyone's talking about politics, or like people are arguing about Persona 5, and I'm like, no, we don't really have arguments. The most impassioned comment we got on tonight's episode was big meh. It's we're usually pretty either apathetic towards a game or pretty passionate about a game. So it's kinda weird. I'm like, yo guys, give me your doxing. Give me your like, I'm an open book, please. There's a lot of dirt on me that I have uploaded on the internet. I am very easy to be put a target upon. Doesn't happen though. It's because I'm asking for it. It's reverse psychology. If I want the attention, it'll never come to me. As soon as I give up the attempt, then it'll come to me. But I'm too
I don't know.
I'm too I'm too selfish to give that up.
Maybe when I get more comfortable, I'll like reveal my true identity.
Face
But
reveal.
for the time being, it's like I like to keep that shit separate.
I have bad news for you.
But
Pictures from Taiyokan are still up on the group with your face.
yeah, I know.
But no one's that dedicated to no one's dedicated enough to dig through 3.5 years of pictures.
There's a video of my face on YouTube, but you're not gonna find that shit.
Are you in the Steelbook destruction video? I hope you're in that video.
I think for like a second, 'cause I did sign it for like a couple of seconds.
I
And
loved
left.
the idea of that video until I saw that Melissa filmed it like she was a fucking drunk soccer mom. That video was filmed as if like Melissa was held at gunpoint upside down having to film it. Oh my god. Speaking of being drunk with the soccer mom not holding a gun to your head, SMTN will be at TaioCon next month. We'll have our first panel in what seriously feels like forever. We'll be talking about Atlas in 2020. I think it is just called the Atlas 2020 fan panel. I will be there. Marcus and Kat will hopefully be there. Torn will sound like not a robot if he is there. I know we have a bunch of people who live near Arizona, so if you guys are around the Phoenix area in Arizona, please come down. But yeah, that will be obviously recorded and put up for everyone as well who can't make it out there, but I have not done a SMTN meetup in any way, shape, or form outside of, hey, people who live in Kansas, say hi to me, I'm lonely. But yes, besides that, you can find the podcast on Twitter at SMT Network. You can find me on Twitter. I am at Torchwood4SP. You can find both of us on the official Facebook group podcast group. Boy, man, this brain is turning off soon. That is facebook.com/groups/SMTN. You can find the YouTube channel where this video is either playing or just in case you want to look at old podcasts that I am slowly putting up or just make fun of my old Steelbook collections. I don't care. That is just searching my name, Spencer Presley, SpencerPressly. Besides that, we got the group, we've got the Twitter, we've got Facebook.
We got titties.
We got titties. They're on the bed sleeping, but we got titties. Oh, she was paying attention for that. Either way,
Open
breast right now. They're just sitting there. That's why we do video. You can't see them on the video, but there is a video version of you listening to open breast being exposed. Very YouTube friendly though. Besides opening breast exposure, I think that's it for this week's episode of the podcast, which, by the way, sorry I was a little late. Sorry I sound like trash. Sorry we went super off the rails, but I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Andre, as a fan, this is your first official one-on-one cast. If you, as biased of an answer as possible, how was this as an episode, just to listen to, do you think?
I was thinking this was going to be like a 3.
Please be like say on like a 100-point scale.
on 1 to 10.
Oh, okay.
It was going to be a 3. Mm-hmm. But it turned out to be a 9.
All right. Went from a 3 to a 9. It's like when I feel like that's what I imagine most people are like when they see my dating profile when I was single. I'm like, you see me and be like, he's like a 3, like not a bad 3, but like he's not a second date 3. And then like afterwards, like, Mary, would you say I was a 9 after the first date on a 10-point scale? No, the experience. We already know the answer on looks. It's not a 3. I'm too high. That's too high for me. 7? I'll take 7. I'll take a swimming in 7s. That's at least above a D. And remember, D's get degrees.
She said a 7?
She said a 7, dude, and she's still with me. She's settled with that 7. Oh, I can't wait to cut that out. My ego can't take that being out there on the public. All right, everybody. Have a good night.
Oh, damn.
Thank you for listening to the show. Andre, thank you again. You wanna... What's your classic sign-off gonna be?
Now the day goes by, and we're walking down the street. Not a fear in the world. All my friends, we're together, yeah. Close your eyes, let us fly into the sky. All our dreams we can reach if we stay together. Close your eyes, let's hit the air. We gotta hold it now together for this final round. So let's climb this wall and swing in the air. We're gonna always be young and we'll fight to the end. Let's climb this wall. We'll be strong and beat out again. Yeah, we'll stay together for another round. Then we'll laugh and play and fight on again. We'll never stop our dreaming. Friends, we will defend. Yes, we have it all. We're brothers till the end. Hey, come on, let's get some down. All my brothers never get in the world. We're gonna have fun until the end. Never stop dreaming. Our love never ends. Yes, we're brothers till the end.
Thank you. That's much better than your sup. He gave us a sup earlier. That was too cool for this podcast. We're not that cool. We're hosted by the whitest white guy ever, guys. If you have not seen me, it is not hard to find a picture of me. I'm very white. Andre, you've met me at least one weekend long enough, even many years ago. My whiteness could not be understated, right?
I've met water people before,
You
but
know
I'd say
what?
you're like up there.
That's probably pretty true. Because you and I last met 2016?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to actually have to involve my girlfriend, who will not be very talkative in this episode, but she's going to enjoy this real quick. Okay, 2016 me. You've seen pictures of this. I have short hair. Remember, folks, I got a big-ass forehead. So I got, like, no hair covering this big-ass head. And for whatever reason, I'm not a fit fella. I'm not big, but I'm not fit. I definitely need some things to hide. No facial hair. And not like the I can't grow facial hair problem. The, like, I think I look better shaved, but actually I just look like one big neck to chin ratio. So it's not a good look. If you go back and look at pictures, it looks like you all were on a Make-A-Wish Foundation trip, and I was the one who tagged along. It's not a good look. Anyone out there, look up 2016 pictures of me or earlier. They're all bad. And now I have pretty longish hair, especially by my old standards. And if I ever do a clean shave, I look really bad. I remember the last time I did a clean shave. This shows how much news we have this week, guys. I fucked up so bad at shaving my face. I thought, let's play around with it a little first, you know? Because, like, you know, like, once you're, like, kind of shaving, you're like, listen, I'm in the privacy of my own bathroom. How much could I get away with the Hitler mustache? I mean, Michael Jordan got away with it on a commercial. Anyone else could get away with it, right? No, don't try that mustache, kids. That's a bad mustache. Okay, we've officially gone way too long, but I'm not restarting the opening at this point. That definitely has to be the bloopers now, along with Torrin having a seizure. So I'm going to stop after I said you were cool. And then we're going to throw that all at the end, because that was way too long. But Mary, how dare you let me go on that tangent that long? That was too long. All right, we're gonna make your
Just gotta let it happen, man.
We're
We gotta
gonna
go
make
raw.
your laugh the starting point for real now. Okay, so after you said hello in the less cool subway. All right.